You're listening to KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas, the voice of the people, voted best radio station for music 2 years in a row by the Dallas Observer.
Did you know that KNON podcasts all of its local talk shows? KNON has local talk, each show covering your community in its own unique way. So if you missed one of our great morning talk shows, you can go back and listen to it online. We keep the shows for 2 months so you can hear everything you have been missing out on. Visit KNON.org for more information about the KNON Morning Talk Shows podcast. Also available on iTunes.
Good morning. It's the Workers Beat. I'm Gene Lantz. The number here is 972-647-1893. I'm here with Bonnie Mathias.
Good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
Everything is going good. It's a cold, crisp day out there, and we're having a wonderful time in Dallas.
Beautiful sunshine today. People get out and enjoy it if you can.
Not so great in Washington, D.C.
Oh, my
I
God,
would say.
no.
And I hope we can talk about that today. Call us at 972-647-1893. I'm worried. I hope you are worried, because if they make a deal, it is not likely to be something that we will celebrate, because all they're negotiating is how much the cuts are going to be and how little the tax is going to be on the wealthy. Those are the only two things they're negotiating. And almost any move toward the middle on that is going to involve some bad things for ordinary people and working people. Don't you think so, Bonnie?
Yeah, it's pretty scary. You know, you hear one side saying, oh, the fiscal cliff, we're all going to fall off the fiscal cliff, and it's going to be horrible. And it is going to be horrible. But I know that I've read most employers are not going to change the tax rate in the month of January. So I know that there is going to be some kind of a deal. It's probably not going to happen before the end of the year. But, you know, I get real frustrated when the president has to cut his vacation short. He cuts his vacation short, leaves his family, and comes back from Hawaii back to cold, freezing Washington, D.C.
Yeah, that was on Wednesday.
Yeah, and where's John Boehner?
Yeah, well, Boehner was there, but he didn't call the House of Representatives together until tomorrow night.
See, that's just, I am just appalled at the audacity that these people have. They're playing with our lives.
That's right.
And it's not fun, and it's not fair.
From the very narrow point of view of retirees, the fact is that if they don't make a deal, that's not the worst thing. From the point of view of retirees, it could be a lot worse, because retiree benefits are protected under this agreement that they made back in 2011. So it's not cuts across the board, it's cuts for everything except Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid benefits. So it could be worse from the point of view of retirees. Also, income tax increases across the board is not going to hit retirees very much, because we don't make any money to speak of. So, and also payroll taxes going back up, that's not going to hit retirees who are not working. So, so from the point of view of retirees, the idea of not getting a deal is not the worst thing. And the latest proposal that was made by President Obama was not what we would call a perfect idea, because it takes a little cut in the cost of living allowance for Social Security.
And it was so large to start with.
Yeah, well, the cost of living allowance is pretty pathetic to begin with.
Exactly, and you cut it in half. So let's see, you were going to get $5, and now you're going to get $2.50.
Yeah, that's about it. Our position, though, among retirees is that they should never have even discussed Social Security, because it doesn't have anything to do with the budget deficit that they say that they are dealing with. This is just a concession to the Republicans, who have been wanting to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid ever since any of them were invented. What's your opinion? 972-647 1893. Don't just let us talk. Come and tell us what you think.
Absolutely.
Now, there's going to be a convention for retirees on January the 5th at 1106 Lavaca in Austin at 10 o'clock in the morning. That's a Saturday. And if people need transportation to that, you're supposed to let me know at labordallas.org. labordallas.org is my website, and that's where you'll find information. Anything that I say on the radio, I'm also going to put it on labordallas.org. So contact me through labordallas.org if you want transportation on August the 5th. Now,
January the 5th.
January 5th. Why did I say August?
I don't know.
That is pathetic.
August the 5th.
Running 4 months behind.
Yeah, there won't be any reason to go to Austin August the 5th.
Okay, on January the 5th.
There you go.
Okay.
And that's next Saturday, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
And people want to go, don't necessarily have to be retirees. All you have to do to join the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans is be committed to saving the right to retire in America, because that's what we're committed to. I don't care if you're 12 years old. If you're for saving the right to retire, and you should be, because
Absolutely.
you ain't always going to be 12 years old. There's someday that you're going to wish you had a retirement.
Yeah.
So sign up for the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans and go to the convention on January the 5th in Austin.
And if you decide that you're going to stay here in Dallas, you need to tune in next week, because Tarsha Hardy is going to be on the show with me.
Yeah, who is Tarsha Hardy?
Tarsha Hardy is the vice chair of the Texas Democratic Party.
And she's also one of the best speakers I've ever heard in
gosh.
Dallas County.
She's awesome. She's also a very dear friend. And I'm very excited. She's a union member. She works in, what is it? OPEIU,
Office of Professional Employees,
yes,
International Union.
Yes, she is. She is a member of that union. She works in our CWA District 6 office, and she has been elected in 2012.
She was elected in 2012, yeah.
2012, to serve as the vice chair of the Texas Democratic Party, and she is an exciting young woman.
Well, I'm glad you're going to have her on the radio with you next week, because I'm going to be gone to this convention.
I know. You have to bring all the information back for the next week.
You ought to put something out that people can get Tarsha to speak, because she's an outstanding speaker.
Yes, she is.
Also, the Texas AFL-CIO is getting ready for the state legislature. There's really no way to get ready for the Texas state legislature. People think, well, I could hide. I could hide for 4 months.
Could I move somewhere for like 4 months?
Yeah. But they are trying to get ready for the Texas state legislature, and they are asking people to sign up for their activist list, because things happen very quickly.
Yes.
Somebody will spring, especially the governor and the lieutenant governor, they can spring legislation and whip it through there overnight. So they want people to sign up with the Texas AFL-CIO so they'll find out what's going on. And the way I have to read this email for that, so get your pencil. It's www.act.aflcio.org. So it's act.aflcio.org. And that's the website where you go to sign up so that you can get lightning information. Now,
yeah, I think they'll text you. They can email you.
Yeah,
Twitter.
if they have your information.
Right. It's pretty awesome.
And another thing to do is to sign up with Ed Sills with the communications, because if you want labor news in Texas, you have to be on Ed Sills' list. So you write to ed at texasaflcio.org and just tell Ed that you want to get the labor news, and he will send you. This is the very best source of inside information on the Texas legislature. This is better than anything. For a long time, the Texas Observer was the only thing we had to find out what was going on in the legislature. Other than that, they worked pretty much in secrecy.
Yeah.
But the Texas Observer was only a weekly, even back in those days. Wow. So if you want daily updates on what's going to happen in the Texas legislature, and you need this, write to Ed at texasaflcio.org.
He has a great blog, too.
972-647-1893 is our number, and we want to know your opinion on what's going on. They say that tomorrow night and on Monday that they're going to reach agreement in Congress. They say they're optimistic that they will reach agreement. That scares me.
Who said they're optimistic? That's what. Who said that?
The head of the Republicans
With
in the Senate, McConnell or something like that.
Oh, Turtle. I mean, I'm sorry.
Mitch Mitchell or
Mitch McConnell. I'm sorry. He looks like a turtle.
A good way to remember. And the president says it. Says that they still say that they can make a deal. Well, that's fine if they make a good deal. The deal that should be made is no more tax handouts for the rich people and no cuts for everybody else.
I mean, how hard is that, really?
That's pretty simple. But that is certainly not what the Republicans are going to go for. So if they make some kind of compromise, then that's what they're going to be compromising on. Now, the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans and Jobs with Justice, especially Job with Justice, which I'm associated with, has put up a billboard out on Highway 30 as you leave Dallas going east and you cross Ferguson Road. That's about a mile outside of Dallas. There's a sign that says no austerity. Call Congress, LaborDallas.org. LaborDallas.org, of course, is my website.
That's right.
And Jobs with Justice put that billboard up, and it's going to run for 2 weeks.
Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah, it's expensive as heck to do that.
Oh, I know, but you know that those things have a huge impact. It's amazing.
You think?
Well, I actually used to be in advertising. My soon-to-be retired self, I sold Yellow Pages advertising, and I actually sold against billboards and newspapers and things like that. But then it became, this is a total package. You got to have a billboard, you got to have a Yellow Pages ad, you got to have an ad on something else, and that way you've got a full package. And there are a lot of impressions that people get.
Well, how do you evaluate the value of this advertising? Now, you're an expert on that. Tell me that.
You know, I can tell you that it's all based on impressions.
Yeah,
so
but how do you count them?
How many people drive by that billboard on a daily basis?
Yeah, they'll tell you that.
Yeah,
the advertising company can tell you how many cars go by.
Exactly.
And but they don't tell you anything about the response. You don't know the response.
No, it's that was the hardest thing about selling advertising, because the first time in my life I didn't have something that you could touch or feel.
Well, I can tell you this: on the first day that the ad went up, we got 2 donations over the internet, totaling $25. Each of them was $25, so we got $50 back. So far, we're only $1,950 in the hole on that billboard.
It's all about impressions. That's why advertising is so hard to sell.
Well, there's no way of knowing exactly what you've done, because you may have influenced somebody that won't do anything for the next year about it. But
that's right. But maybe they'll think about it.
Now, I've been getting criticized for using the term austerity.
Why?
Because
that's what it is.
Yeah, I know, but that's not what they're calling it in Washington.
Well, of course they're not, because
they call it everything else. They call it everything else. Well, I call it austerity because that's what they call it in Europe. And there's millions of people hitting the streets over it in Europe because, this started for them 3 or 4 years ago. And they took some concessions. They said, well, times is hard. Maybe we have to take some concessions. And then they took some more concessions. And then they came back and said, we want some more concessions. And it's just more and more and more and more and more. The more concessions you take, the more concessions they will try to make you take.
That's right.
Until you're back to slavery or back to starving to death. So I think this is the exact same fight. When they say they're going to cut the cost of living allowance on Social Security, that's just the first bite of an austerity program is going to keep right on taking all of your rights.
That's right. And if you have a different opinion, call us and tell us. 972-647-1893. That's why we're here. This is your radio station. You call and tell us if you have a different opinion.
And everybody says another thing too. Is, well, it's Christmas. Don't do anything because it's Christmas. and they're doing stuff to us during Christmas.
During Christmas, hey, I got my layoff notice on November 27th.
There you go. That was your Christmas present.
Merry Christmas. That's right.
So I'm operating under the theory that if we end up taking a bunch of cuts, and then we think later on of something that we could have done, and we didn't do it, that we're going to feel terrible about it, because I'm doing everything I can think of.
Right.
And tomorrow, Monday, the Alliance for Retired Americans is going to have a dinner, and people are supposed to call Leah Witherspoon if they are interested in working on that, or if they're interested in coming to that. This will be Monday, December 31st, and that's pretty much the deadline.
Right.
When we have our little get together starting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in Oak Cliff, that will be when we know one way or the other.
Should be.
And we are actually talking about having a prayer vigil after that on New Year's Eve when everybody else is out getting drunk. We're talking about having a prayer vigil even after that, because we don't know what they're going to do.
That's
right. And almost everything that they could do is bad.
Pretty much.
So if you're interested in going to our little meeting on New Year's Eve, we're calling it a seniors New Year's Eve celebration, because the seniors don't want to stay up late. It's over 6 o'clock.
Hey, I get it. I actually RSVP'd for a party and realized it doesn't start till 9.
Well, the seniors New Year's Eve party starts at 3 o'clock in the afternoons, over at 6 o'clock. And here's the number if you're interested. Call Leah Witherspoon, who's organizing this, 214-254-1157. I do that too fast, don't I? 214-254-1157.
Okay.
That's Leah Witherspoon. She's organizing the thing for that. Now, we just talked about having a prayer vigil or something that night, but what do you think of that idea, Bonnie?
I think you may have a little trouble getting people out.
Yeah.
For that, but maybe not. Maybe not. I think we all need to be praying. I sure do.
They've left us without many more options.
That's it. I mean, I don't know what else to do at this point. Well, I think our president has tried to compromise without hurting hurting everybody, and the Republicans just don't give a damn.
They're insisting. In fact, everything I've heard said that they want to take all of the cuts that are aimed at the military.
Yep.
And restore the military to full funding and cut everybody else.
Can you tell me why we need to restore the military to full funding? Are we about to get into another war? Is that the reason why?
They need muscle. If they want to push people around, they need muscle.
But why do we have to keep pushing people around?
The reasons that you're mixing up we with they.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I
don't need to push people around, but they do.
They do. Okay, I get it.
They need to push people around. They need to lie to people. They need to cheat people. They need to fool people. We don't.
We don't.
So it doesn't make any sense to us.
Well, then how come we, the people, ain't standing up saying stop it?
972-647-1893. There are opportunities to stand up.
Yes, there are.
We'll be right back after this break.
This morning.
Tune in every Saturday morning for KNON Speak Up Saturdays. Speak Up Saturday starts at 7 a.m. with an expanded church information and forum hosted by Reverend Marion Barnett, a news and politics show for you. Then at 9 a.m., it's the Workers' Beat hosted by Gene Lantz, sponsored by the CWA, a show for workers' rights. At 10 a.m., the Dallas Observer presents Jim Schutz, Get Off My Lawn with the other side of the news. Wrapping up Speak Up Saturdays at 11 a.m. is Lambda Weekly with David Taffet, the longest-running LGBTQ talk show in the country. Be sure to tune in every Saturday morning to Speak Up Saturdays right here on KNON 89.3 FM, the voice of the people.
Want to hear some great Texas blues? KNON has the CD for you. KNON's Texas Blues Radio Volume 5, our latest blues compilation CD to benefit community radio, sponsored by Forever Young Records. This CD features 15 tracks and 60 minutes of great original Dallas-Fort Worth blues from Tutu Jones, Blues Boy Bo, Buddy Whittington, Andrea Dawson, Kirkland James, Sonny Colley, Johnny Red and the Roosters, the Chris Watson Band, the Two-Tones, the Rough Cut Blues Band, Jeff Stone and Charlie Love, Dave Millsap, Sirloin and the Ash-Kicking Machine, Michael J. and the Paul Bird Band, and JJ and the Detonators. We're only selling 1,000 copies, and it will never be reissued. Get your copy now at Forever Young Records in Grand Prairie, Recordtown in Fort Worth, and in Dallas at Bill's Records and Rewind Music. The CD is available as an MP3 download at KNON.org. All proceeds benefit community radio, KNON. For more info on Texas Blues Radio Volume 5, visit us at KNON.org. Get your copy now and hear some real Texas blues. Your ears will thank you for it.
Blue Monday, how I hate Blue Monday. Got to work.
Yeah, but it ain't even Monday yet.
Oh, it is going to be a Blue Monday,
It's
though.
still Saturday. It's a beautiful day. 972-647-1893 if you're interested in talking. We were just getting to the point of saying what people ought to be doing about stuff, and Daniel's on the line. If this is the Daniel I remember, he's probably got some ideas. Go ahead, Daniel. You're online.
Hello?
Good morning, Daniel. You're on KNON. And he's very silent. Daniel, call us back. You must be on a cell phone, lost the signal or something.
Yeah, it couldn't be our phones.
Well, we'd love to have you call us at 972-647-1893. I want to publicize my YouTube program. I have a program to help Walmart by getting endorsements on video and then putting them on YouTube. I got 5 of them up right now.
Do you?
Yeah, that's probably about 40 people, something like that. But it includes some people with titles. If they have a title, I ask them to say their title.
Sure.
And I am very, very thankful that Judge Don Adams made a recording saying, I'm Judge Don Adams and I support the rights of the Walmart workers.
That's excellent.
That's on YouTube. Commissioner Elba Garcia.
Yay, Dr. Garcia.
Dynamic commissioner from Oak Cliff.
Yes.
And she came on and said that she was supportive of the Walmart workers. And then Councilman Griggs.
Oh, good.
He's also from Oak Cliff.
Yes.
I happened to run into them at an Oak Cliff community meeting.
Perfect.
And, both of them just agreed immediately, sure, I support the right of the Walmart workers.
Excellent.
So I'm trying to get this to become a national program. I think everybody's got a video camera, could be making recordings of people that endorse the Walmart workers and putting them on YouTube.
If you have a smartphone, 9 times out of 10, you probably got a video camera.
Yeah, you could.
You could do it quick.
There's probably other ways to do it. Is Daniel on now? Okay, bring him on. Good morning, Daniel. Thanks for calling KNON.
Hey, no problem. First off, I want to say I love y'all's show.
Thank
Good
you.
deal.
I love the fact that we have this on the radio. But I think talking about makes complete sense about how us people in the middle class and the lower class don't have as much of a say as the 1% in our society. But I think there's a problem here because we're losing a sense of unity. I think that's where the issue is that we have no sense of nationalism anymore. Is that there's been such a separation created between our class and the 1%, the people that hold power, that we have no ability to make any decisions, and so we all feel helpless.
Mm-hmm. So you think how do we overcome this helplessness feeling?
Well, I mean, it's about we got to change the system from the floor up. I think the biggest thing is we have to focus on the voting system.
Yes.
How votes happen, because there's no integrity in the voting system. Like, for example, how many people didn't vote because they feel like their vote doesn't count.
That's right.
And so it goes all the way down to Texas legislation. Even stuff that, like bills that affect just the Dallas infrastructure, the Dallas system, our votes won't matter. And so nothing happens from that point on.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we have to get more people to vote and make it a habit to vote in every single election.
I totally agree. It's just how do we restore the integrity in our voting system? That's the question.
Well, first of all, we have to get more people out to vote so that we can actually look at these politicians and say, you are not in control. We are.
Yeah, totally agree with y'all.
I kind of think this is a chicken and egg conundrum, because we're saying there's a whole bunch of things wrong with the society, and then we're saying at the same time that people have the feeling of helplessness, which you described very well, Daniel. And the answer to the problems in the system is that people have to overcome the feeling of helplessness.
Yes.
People have to start doing something, and I think that's what we can address. We can't just pie in the sky say the system has to change so that people won't feel helpless. That's not going to happen. What's got to happen first is that the people got to start taking action and start taking a role in society. So how do we get there from here?
Man, y'all beat me on that one. But, man, I appreciate everything y'all are doing. Y'all keep it up, and I'm going to keep listening, all right?
Excellent. Thank you, Daniel.
Actually, I think he gave a good answer. He said, keep it up.
That's right. Keep it up. That's exactly right. Keep it up. We have to keep it up.
Okay. Let's let Randy have his say-so. Good morning, Randy. Thanks for calling KNON.
Good morning, you guys. How you doing?
Good morning, Randy.
I'm doing great. I'm going to play a little bit of the devil's advocate here.
You always do that.
Well, it gets a conversation going. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like I was saying with Reverend Barnett, sometimes you may not agree with the person you're talking to, but at least you guys have got a conversation going, and you'll eventually come to an end result. It may not be what either side wants, but it'll probably be somewhere in the middle compromise.
Yes.
But, you know, I've been watching this thing going on with the physical cliff and this and that, and here's one of my questions. The 47%, how's it going to affect the 47%?
There's going to be cuts.
It's going to be cuts.
It's going to be
cuts.
What
I'm saying, if the 47% that Romney is saying don't pay taxes, then it's not going to affect them, obviously. Why? Because they're not paying taxes.
But they are paying taxes.
Well,
I understand.
Just because Romney said they did
that. I'm talking about to the federal government.
Gotcha.
Supposedly the 47% don't pay no federal taxes, period.
They pay payroll taxes.
Payroll.
They pay payroll. Okay.
Sales taxes.
Yeah. Payroll taxes going to go up.
That's not what the federal government's trying to change the sales tax, is it?
No.
Okay.
But they're trying to change payroll taxes. That's part of the deal.
Right, but there's a lot of those 47% that get paid cash and don't collect a check.
Well, it's not 47%.
I know that, Gene, but I'm just playing the devil's advocate, so we can talk about the whole thing. And here's my question: is this physical cliff going over the cliff going to keep me from going to Parkland on Wednesday and being able to get a service?
No.
Okay. So
eventually
it will. Yeah. But.
So my world's probably not going to change if I live in the 47% and I get my medical care down at Parkland with my retina reattached and my cataract taken off. It's not going to affect my life at all.
I think I think you're way overstating it, but go ahead.
Everybody's overstating their issue. It's just like the Republicans now are saying, well, why don't we let it go past the physical cliff? Because then we won't be looked at as raising taxes on somebody. We'll be looked at lowering taxes again for the people. So my point is that I'm trying to get to, as long as President Obama and the Democratic Party, this is like a tug-of-war. You get this visual. You got a mud hole right here in the middle. And you got people on one end of the rope and people on the other end of the rope. Gene and Bonnie, I'm sure you've been in that position playing a game before. We all have.
Yeah.
Now, when you got one side giving, okay, there's this line, and the rule is this. And then you got one side saying, well, no, we think the rule should be this. And you got the other side saying, well, okay, maybe a little bit. And we move that way a little bit closer. So each time the Democratic Party steps a little bit closer to what the Republicans want, the Republicans are thinking, well, we can pull them a little closer to this mud hole. Why? Because they just stepped forward. So until the Democratic Party puts its fist up and says, like Travis did at the Alamo, supposedly, this is the line, and we're willing to fight here if it does the thing that you're trying to do, collapse this country. But sooner or later, the Democratic Party has to draw the line. And until they draw the line, Republicans will keep pulling them closer to the mud pit. So when are we going to draw the line?
So that's your question.
When are we going to say $250,000 and that's it? When are we going to say, you know what, Roosevelt was wrong when he put the Social Security money into the general fund? And as long as that Social Security money is in the general fund and we as the citizens don't demand it being separated, it is part of our budget every time they try to make an issue of it.
Okay, summarize your question, Randy. You're going on and on.
When are we going to stand up, put our fist up, and say, this is the line?
Okay.
Okay.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you, Randy. Bonnie, you want to answer his question? When are we going to draw the line?
Well, I thought that the president had said, you know, this is well, it went to 400,000. It started out at 250. Now the last I heard it was up to 400,000. But then I heard the Weeper of the House, his proposal was $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But that's just on one issue. That's just on who is going to continue to get tax handouts from the federal government. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that's hanging in this.
Yeah, there is. It's crazy.
I kind of agree with Randy. I think that we should draw the line. That there's no question what our position should be. I'm not sure the Democratic Party completely represents us. They get an awful lot of money from rich people, too.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
So that's why they're talking about, trying to find some kind of compromise. Liberals and conservatives and left and right, these are terms that came out of the French Revolution.
Really?
And the French Revolution was not a people's revolution. It was a capitalist revolution. So you have the liberal capitalists and the conservative capitalists. You have the left capitalists and the right capitalists. It's true, but they're still all capitalists. And you and I are not. You and I are working people.
Right.
And so is Randy. So we should certainly draw the line.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if the Democrats are going to draw the line. I think they're going to compromise, and I think that there's going to be cuts for ordinary people that come out of this. That's why I keep making the point that this terrible crisis that they created in the summer of 2011, when they set this whole thing up, and the Democrats and Republicans agreed on it, when they set this whole thing up, that's what they're now calling the fiscal cliff. They act like it's a force of nature or something, but actually they did it. They set it up themselves, and now they're saying, "Well, this is why we have to cut ordinary people."
Yeah.
Well, I don't agree. I can't go along with that.
No.
I never set this up. I never voted for it. I never agreed to it, and I ain't compromising on it.
No.
So the line in the sand is what we have to draw. And I don't know that it's practical to say the Democrats must draw the line in the sand. That's not very.
Well, we know where the line's going to be.
That's not in the real world.
No, and we know where the line's going to be if the GOP draws the line.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be.
It's going to be all on us.
Keep those tax cuts for the Bush tax cuts. Renew them for another year.
Wealthy tax cuts will continue. There'll be no cuts for military, and there will be cuts for everybody
else.
There will be no food stamps. There will be no help for the unemployed and all that.
That's right.
And let's don't forget the unemployed and the food stamps issues coming up either, because that's not part of what they call the fiscal cliff.
No, this is something different.
That's not the agreement they made back in 2011.
Right.
Food stamps and unemployment benefits just happened to fall in the same period of time. And speaking of that, just to make it all more fun, Timothy Geithner, the head of the Treasury Department, says that the federal government runs out of money on Monday. So they have to have a raise in the debt ceiling.
Looks like a triple whammy to me.
Yeah, he says they have to have a raise in the debt ceiling on Monday, which just gives the people that want to cut us the most, Democrats and Republicans who are in favor of cutting us, that they're given another handle, another way to work against us on that. What do you think? 972-647-1893. I want to thank Jim Rivers for bringing another important issue to my attention. The Women's Rights Treaty, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, is a strong tool that the international community used to protect women and girls from violence and injustices such as forced marriages and prostitution, trafficking, and providing and get access to education for women and vocational training for women. However, the unfortunate part of it, according to what Jim Rivers sent me, is that the United States is one of the 7 nations that have yet to ratify the treaty. He says the Coalition of Labor Union Women urges supporters of women's rights to sign the petition that will be presented to all senators on January the 3rd, the opening day of the 103rd Congress. So, if you're interested in women's rights, and you should be, I mean, everybody's got a mother.
That's right.
Then try to get people to sign the petition. I don't have the online version of this. If you find it online, you can just click on something and sign the petition.
And I would think you could Google a petition for women or some. I'm not sure.
Well, with the historic number of women elected to Congress, because women really controlled this last election.
Thank God.
This is the perfect moment to let the senators know that it is time for the United States to ratify this international treaty and confirm our commitment to women's rights worldwide. And they want people to sign the petition to advance women's human rights, and not just for women in the United States, but for all women worldwide, and that they should ratify this convention. You know, the people of India are rioting because a woman got raped on the bus.
She died.
Did she die?
She died.
I didn't know she died.
She did. She died yesterday.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, this is a terrible crime, but
it's horrible.
Other people in other places say, well, why are they all up in arms? Because this happens all the time around here. Happens in South Dallas. I was hearing Reverend Barnett talking on the previous program. And so what's the big deal? Some people are saying, well, it is a big deal.
It's a horrible. I mean, how can you even think it's not a big deal?
And to not stand up for the rights of women is to be uncivilized.
Absolutely. We do make up.
Want to go back to Genghis Khan or something.
Aren't women 52% of the population?
Yeah, certainly more than 50% anyway.
Well, there you go.
We know that. And I know that in the retiree movement, you can't get along without them because they do everything.
Oh, my gosh,
The men want to talk and the women organize and get stuff done. That's like
right.
I mentioned a while ago, Leah Witherspoon's organizing this dinner on New Year's Eve. Without her, we wouldn't have even done it. Let me give her number again. If you're interested in going to a seniors event on New Year's Eve, 214-254-1157. That's 254-1157. And that's early in the day, New Year's Eve.
Get home before the amateurs get out on the street.
972-647-1893. The station really encourages you to call. Is this the 28th or 29th today?
29th.
Okay, well, on the 28th, it's White Shirt Day for UAW members. I'm a UAW member.
Did you wear a white shirt yesterday?
No, I forgot. And most of us have forgotten now. But we commemorate the sit-down strikes of the 1930s. Wow. And on the December 28th in 1936 was the first sit-down strike that the UAW carried out. It wasn't the first one they ever done. The rubber workers did the first one ever done in the United States. Sit-down is where you just go on into the workplace and just say, we ain't coming out. And instead of going outside and picketing at the door,
you just
go inside and sit down.
I think
they made it illegal right after we showed how good it worked. But this is how the United Auto Workers got started. They would just go into the auto manufacturing plants and just sit down and say, we ain't gonna make no cars, but we ain't leaving either. And
I think that's great.
The National Guard would be outside talking about whether or not they wanted to bomb the plant.
To get them out?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Well, they weren't going to bomb the plant because that's important equipment. Exactly. They don't mind killing else, but they don't want to hurt their equipment. We'll be right back.
Tell you all a story that's close to me. A worker who's leaning on a bended knee, soiled and tattered in search of relief.
Recycle Revolution is a local recycling collection service and community drop-off center. They collect and accept all traditional recyclables, including paper, plastic, aluminum, cardboard, and glass, as well as materials like TVs, computers, lamps, light bulbs, batteries, ballasts, and styrofoam. They offer collection services to apartments, condos, and businesses. They also offer a community drop-off located at 1703 Chestnut Street in Dallas. For more information, 214-566-3025 or recyclerevolutiondallas.com.
211 Texas, a program of the Texas Health and Human Services Commission, is committed to helping Texas citizens connect with the services they need, whether by phone or internet. Our goal is to present accurate, well-organized, and easy-to-find information from over 60,000 state and local health and human services programs. We have programs ranging from child care to GED instruction, from dental care to food pantries to public utility services. Contact 211 at 211texas.org or dial 211 to connect with the resources you need. If dialing 211 directly doesn't work on your telephone, you can call 877-541-7905 for 211 Texas. Don't let your family go without the help they need.
at 4:45. The alarm clock is relentless, for goodness sakes alive. Back to the old barnyard, the Monday morning grind. If the boss man don't fire me, I'm walking a thin line. Oh Lord, what am I gonna do? Oh, I should have been a banker, save me from these blue-collar blues. 6 o'clock, the horn blows, it's time to go to work. It won't be long, the oil stains will ruin my new shirt. And if I had $1 for every time I tried, break out of this manhole before my mind.
We're back on the Workers Beat. 972-647-1893 is the number, and we appreciate it when you call. KNON just loves it when you call.
Okay, so Clint looked it up, and there's 1.01 men for every woman. So we're almost right at 50-50.
So that's the numbers on that.
That's the numbers.
We need to know.
That's worldwide.
We need to know that.
That's right.
I just want to talk a little bit more about this fight against austerity. I mean, I use the word austerity because I want people to realize that a lot of the smaller struggles come in under this one big rubric that is all part of this fight against austerity. If they cut the unemployed, which is what looks like they're going to not approve the extension for 2.1 million unemployed people, in other words, they would be left with nothing. Long-term unemployed would be left with nothing, and this is going to happen Tuesday, unless we can push them to make them do it. This is the same part of the same fight as the fight to save food stamps.
Right.
Now, the food stamps is part of the agriculture bill, which they have just been stalling on. They just haven't approved it. And let's face it, rich people don't approve of food stamps.
No.
They don't think poor people should have something to eat.
And isn't it funny that the majority of people on food stamps are white?
Yes, that's true.
I think that, because I hear these racist
Well, most of the working
pigs.
poor.
Yeah,
most of the working poor
are white
white
people. That's right.
That's because, yeah.
I don't know why
true
it's
fact.
cause.
But so it's not really race.
No.
It's just being poor.
That's right.
And being poor comes from lots of things.
Oh my
It's from
gosh.
Not just the way you're raised and where you were raised, and the circumstances of your life and the circumstances of your parents' life.
Right, and things that are beyond your control. When the stew pot had all the homeless folks from the streets of Dallas. That there was whole families that they brought into the hotel and allowed because those folks are homeless. They lost their jobs. They got no more safety net.
Right.
They've overstayed their welcome at some of their relatives' places. They can't stay there. Where do they go?
And were you reading also in the paper this past week? It mentioned one of the high schools here, I believe it was North Dallas High School.
Yes.
It said that they have a liaison for the homeless children.
Yep.
Homeless children?
Yeah.
In our high schools? I didn't even realize that they had so many that they have a special liaison for the homeless children in some high schools.
Arlington Park Elementary School, which unfortunately is slated to close if it hasn't already, had one of the largest populations of homeless children.
Okay.
Near homeless and homeless children.
So that's part of the fight against austerity.
Absolutely.
So the fight against austerity covers a whole big, broad thing. And one of the bad problems about this so-called fiscal cliff that they created is the way people dealt with it. Like I got a very important call from a woman 2 weeks ago. Her name was Kate something. Schwartz, I think it was. And she said that her organization is going to lose money if they don't do something because of these fiscal negotiations. Her organization was kidneys, kidney transplants. And so she had to send a bunch of stuff to me so I could sign it as president of the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans. I had to give it back to her. And, it's not that she didn't have a very, very, very important issue. Because we all do.
Right, exactly.
The problem is that we're all fighting it separately. So she's getting petitions and saying, don't cut the kidney people. And there's somebody else saying, don't cut the heart people. And somebody else saying, don't cut the pancreas people.
And we need all of us saying, don't cut anybody.
That's why we need to call it austerity.
That's right.
And we need to join together in an anti-austerity fight, as they have in Europe. But they didn't do this right away. It wasn't the first thing on their minds.
No.
They all split up into separate groups and fought it separately, just as we generally tend to do it here in the United States. But that's why I think we need to call it austerity, and we need to realize the breadth of this.
Yes.
How many different categories of people are affected. And now you may not care that much about kidneys, because maybe your kidneys are just fine. But maybe your interest is in gallbladders, you know. So, but the Gallbladder Association is about to get cut too.
There you go.
So you have to realize that the kidney people are part of your gallbladder problem, and as part of your heart problem, and part of your food stamps problem, and part of your unemployed people problem, and all of it put together is
austerity.
It is austerity.
It's austerity. That's
right. What they want to force on us. Handouts for the rich and austerity for everybody else. And when I say everybody else, I don't just mean the poor.
Oh, no. I mean you and me.
Middle income people and everybody that's listening. They're going to get cuts. And then maybe you're not on food stamps, so you might think, well, I'm not going to get on food stamps. And Randy called earlier, you know, and he said, well, I can still go to Parkland. Yeah, maybe you can. But you're going to be hurt in the long run. We're all in this together.
We are.
An injury to one is an injury to all. And we are seeing that in this right now, but where they're threatening all kinds of cuts, and then everybody's going off on their little corner and saying, "Oh, don't cut this, don't cut us.
United,
go ahead and cut everybody else."
United we bargain, divided we beg.
And
there it is.
Even individual unions are pretty bad about that. They say, "Don't cut us, don't cut our retirement benefits." And then when somebody else gets their retirement benefits
so true.
They don't care.
That's it.
I will say, though, to the credit of the AFL-CIO, that they caught on to this a long time ago. They snapped on this. The AFL-CIO is standing up for all working people across the board, and they're fighting this austerity thing. They're just not using the word austerity.
Right.
And I think they should.
I think they should, too, because it's, people have heard it in conjunction with what's happening in Europe. Folks need to understand this is the same thing.
Right.
Maybe not to the extent that it's happening in Europe, but maybe worse.
Well, eventually it's the same thing because now we've talked about the breadth of it, in other words, the numbers of people involved and the different kinds of people that are going to be hurt by austerity programs. But now let's talk about the length of it, because see, this has been going on in Europe for years and years and years. It's been going on in Japan for years and years and years. More and more cuts for the ordinary people and more handouts for the rich. It's been going on in this country for a long time too, at least since 1980 that you can find. And our standard of living has fallen since then. A lot of people still think America has the highest standard of living in the world, and
not anymore.
That's not been true for decades. So not only is this very broad, but it's also very long. This is going to be a long, hard fight, and the sooner we can start grouping together and start realizing how we're in it together, then that's to be the sooner that we can start to do something about it. That's my thinking at the broadest level.
Absolutely.
And that's why there's a sign out in East Dallas that says "No austerity. Call Congress, LaborDallas.org." Because I don't see anybody calling it austerity, and I don't see people trying to lead it as a fight against austerity. They are trying to lead it as a fight against, for example, my retiree group, we're leading it as a fight against the cuts in retiree benefits. But we don't lead it as a cut in food stamps. We're sympathetic to that, but it's not.
But
we're not the food stamp people.
Right.
That's somebody else's deal.
Right. When we should be all talking about the same thing, because it affects each and every one of us, no matter what gets cut. It's going to affect all of us.
It's going to pull us backwards,
and
just as it has been. It's already been doing it for 30 years, but now it's more clear, because it's not just going to happen sometime in the future. We're talking about tomorrow.
Well, and it's happening now already.
We're talking about Sunday night. We're talking about Sunday night in Washington. They're going to gavel the House of Representatives together. They're going to present a proposal. It's going to have cuts for working people in it, cuts for ordinary people in it, and they have got to do something about that by Tuesday.
That's right.
So Monday night, Sunday night, and Monday, and possibly late Monday night, you can expect some kind of compromise to come out of this. And most of it is not going to be good for you.
It's not going to be pretty.
It's not going to be good for you, brothers and sisters.
But you need to, and I recommend, there's a channel on TV that you can actually watch the goings-on in Congress. Tape it. See if your congressman is there.
And see what he or she is saying.
Yeah, look and see how many empty seats there are.
Well, if you don't live in Eddie Bernice Johnson's district, which you do, I think,
I do.
Bonnie.
Yes, sir, I do.
If you don't live in Eddie Bernice Johnson's district, every one of them is out for your scalp.
That's right.
Because I've been keeping track on this.
Ooh.
And there's not any congresspersons in the range of this radio station, other than Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson, that's going to stand up for ordinary people and working people on this deal.
That's right.
Every one of them is on the program of cuts for poor people, no cuts for military, and more handouts for the rich.
Do you have Jeb Hensarling?
Jeb Hensarling is in East Dallas. No, I don't have him.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
I'm temporarily in Pete Sessions, but that's changing because I'm in the new district.
Oh, okay.
Mark Vesey will be my congressman in 3 more days.
Yay, Mark!
Yeah.
So we do have another voice coming, but not until January.
January 3rd, when the new Congress sits. And so we'll have 2 voices, and so a lot of Oak Cliff people are going to breathe a sigh of relief.
Oh, I know.
But that's not going to, that's just 2 voices. The delegation from North Texas is 8 or 10 of them.
Yeah.
And it's, in other words, we're not doing our job. We got 8 or 10 congresspersons, and only 2 of them are going to stand up for us.
Yeah, we have a problem.
That is a pretty bad problem. But we got a lot of problems.
Yes, we do. We're sending Ted Cruz to Washington in place of oh, God.
Kay Bailey Hutchinson.
I thought Kay Bailey Hutchinson was bad.
Yeah,
boy,
I never thought so much of her. Now they're going to send Ted Cruz.
Yeah, now we got
instead.
Ted Cruz. Oh, boy. It's funny because the guys that are looking the organizations looking to fill Kerry's seat called me the other day and asked me for support. I said, you know what? I can't help you because we begged for funds for Paul Sadler during the campaign. I believe we could have won with money behind Paul Sadler because Ted Cruz is so far to the right.
Yeah, Paul Sadler was the Democratic candidate for the Senate seat that eventually Ted Cruz won. And poor Paul Sadler couldn't raise a nickel. I think he ended up raising about $130,000 altogether.
And that makes me sick.
And they spent more than that on the primary.
Oh, my God,
the other side did.
Sad.
It was pathetic. Well, if we unite, we can have what we want. But we're a long way from uniting, brothers and sisters. I know that people say that it's our leaders' fault, but really, it's not.
No,
it's our fault because
we're the leaders.
We didn't get together.
That's it.
We have to get together, and we have to find ways to get together. Now, there's some fine organizations out there. The NAACP, I think, is an outstanding organization that people should look at. And if you've got a chance to be in the union, that's wonderful, and you ought to be in the union. If you don't have a union, you ought to join Working America. I think it's $5 a year to join Working America, and that'll at least put you in contact with the union. You'll be an official member of the AFL-CIO, even though you don't have a specific member and a union steward that's going to stand up for you on the job or something like that. So start joining stuff, brothers and sisters.
Start paying attention.
And start making them do stuff.
Yes.
Because
don't just join. You know, I get real frustrated with folks that just pay their dues, whether it be TOP or the union or whatever. You just pay your dues and you don't do anything. Well, you just not care where your money goes? Because if that's the case, you could just send me a check every month.
Well, paying dues is a lot better than not doing nothing.
Well, it is, but if you're just paying dues, don't you care about where your money goes? Don't you care to know what's happening?
I think it makes all the difference in the world to care, but I think money is important too. So I think that coming around to what you're going to do, making donations is good. Making donations to KNON is a good idea.
It's a really good idea because we need a new microphone. We seriously.
I don't know if anybody can see this.
We need like 2 or 3 new microphones.
This one here
working on it. Okay, I'm hearing Clinton says we're working on it.
This one hangs by a wire, I see yours has got a little plastic.
I got zip ties, man.
Zip tie on it.
I love it. Phone man's been here. That's what zip ties.
I don't know if everybody realizes this is being video streams.
Yeah, that's right.
Two Hat Publications video streaming this, and if you go to Two Hat Publications on YouTube, you can see
you can see us.
You can see me and Bonnie, and you can see that we really dress up for this.
Yes, we do.
I appreciate you wearing your tuxedo today.
Oh, you're so welcome.
And of course, my cummerbund is a little bit off on my tuxedo. And
I actually did dress up a little bit.
Fortunately, Clint is extremely spiffy.
Oh yes,
producing the program up there, and his
no one can see you.
White tails and tie.
Yeah.
But so you can see that. You can see all of us in our splendor if you go to Two Hat Publications.
I really hope that folks will tune in next week and listen because I want you to hear Tarsha Hardy.
And here's what I'm hoping that y'all do. I hope that you go over what's going on in the Texas legislature.
Absolutely.
Because you talk about a bunch of robbers.
Ooh.
You talk about a bunch of people that's got their knives out for you. They're going to try to end public schools.
Yeah.
They are doing.
That's right.
They have done nothing but work on undermining public schools for I don't know how long.
Public education as a whole.
And the right to vote. They intend to take away the right to vote.
Yep.
And they intend to put poor people out where we can't get voter ID to get in and vote. And they intend to keep Texas ratings and the lowest ratings on all the measures of social wealth, the social welfare. They intend to make sure that over 1.7 million more people don't get insurance, because they're going to not expand Medicaid even though the federal government wants to pay for it. So there's a bunch of reasons for you to tune in and listen to Bonnie and Tarsha Hardy next Saturday.
We have some issues that we have really got to listen. I love what you talked about earlier about the action thing where they text you and tell you, we need you in Austin.
Right.
We need you to come testify at a hearing.
Yeah.
And it can happen in a matter of hours. I have burned up the highway more than once between Dallas and Austin, getting down there to testify at a hearing for when electricity deregulation. Man, I was down there every week.
Okay, Bonnie, we got to go.
Oh, we have to go. There's music. Okay. Y'all come back next week. Thanks so much for listening.
You're listening to KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas, the voice of the people, voted best radio station for music 2 years in a row by the Dallas Observer.
Did you know that KNON podcasts all of its local talk shows? KNON has local talk, each show covering your community in its own unique way. So if you missed one of our great morning talk shows, you can go back and listen to it online. We keep the shows for 2 months so you can hear everything you have been missing out on. Visit KNON.org for more information about the KNON Morning Talk Shows podcast, also available on iTunes.